News in our Law and Justice League now, days before being sworn in to be president. Donald Trump will now face sentencing for being found guilty of those 34 counts of falsifying business records to conceal the $130,000 in hush money payments to adult film star and director Stormy Daniels. Paula Reed is here with this move just moments ago from the judge. Paula.
But here in this new opinion, Jake, the judge makes it clear that President-elect Trump will not face any penalties after being convicted of 34 counts of falsifying business records. Now, again, that sentencing is scheduled for January 10th, but it will mostly be performative. Here in this lengthy opinion today, the judge makes it clear that even though he has the option to potentially assign a prison sentence here, he does not believe that is, quote, proper. He said that at this point, he usually doesn't give a preview of what he's going to do at sentencing, but he believes the best thing to do is what is called an unconditional discharge. So there will be no punishment and no penalty applied to the president-elect here. And the judge goes on to say that he agrees with the defendant's concerns about, quote, the mental and physical demands during the current transition, as well as guidance at the federal level about the extent to which you can have legal action against a sitting president, how that applies to a president-elect, and therefore he says he is going to allow him to appear virtually so he can continue to do his work as president-elect. So yes, the headline is that he is going to be sentenced. President-elect Trump will be sentenced on January 10th, but the judge has already previewed that there will be no penalties for President-elect Donald Trump.
Paula, are any of the other cases against Trump moving forward at all, or is that it?
That's pretty much the ball game, Jake. This is the one thing we were waiting for. Just to review, the two federal cases brought by special counsel Jack Smith have both been dismissed because, of course, when Trump gets into the White House, he will have the ability to have his attorney general dismiss those cases, dismiss Jack Smith. So Jack Smith getting out ahead of that, though we still are waiting for Smith's final report detailing many of the findings in his investigation. Down in Georgia, of course, recently a court disqualified District Attorney Fani Willis from that case. That will be appealed, but if that is upheld, they would need to find another prosecutor, another office that would want to use all of its resources to pursue that case that will be likely on ice for the next 4 years, as you cannot bring a state case against a sitting president. So even though earlier this year Trump was facing 4 criminal cases, at this point he is a convicted felon. He was convicted on those 34 counts of falsifying business records in Manhattan last year. That's outside the scope of his pardon power. But aside from being a convicted felon, he has faced no other trials, no other consequences.
All right, Paula Reed, thanks so much. Folks who know